All right, welcome back in, everyone. Let's go to the team at Property Brokers. The head of rural there is Conrad Wilkshire, and we've got our monthly market update. And tell you what, there's some interesting things going on at the moment as well. Conrad, very good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Dom. Yeah, a lot can happen in a month, no question about that.
Certainly can, yeah. Look, we've spoken a little bit about forestry in terms of the real estate market over the past few months. It's interesting, though, isn't it? Because things are changing on the political front there in terms of the government having almost a back to the drawing board approach here. There's been some policy announcements in the last couple of months that really could have, significant impacts. Yeah,
particularly targeting permanent exotic forests. And whether it's the right thing for New Zealand as a whole, and also our farming sector in terms of retiring land to sort of large scale monoculture, set and forget type forestry versus what has built to be a very successful business is production forestry. And so there's been quite a lot of chat about that. And you remember the last time we spoke, we noted that the market was 30%, the pastoral hill country above 200 hectares, so that end of the market was up 30% year on year to December. And a lot of that had been driven off, some of the more expensive country being sold into that permanent forest type category of land. And I think everybody agrees that retiring land that is probably not suited to farming, but it's what gets planted and how it gets planted, I think, is where the debate's been had.
What do you think the result of this sort of policy change, if you like, or certainly tweaking of it, will have on that particular market?
Well, Stuart Nash came out in the last couple of weeks and has said that he is in favour of, large-scale permanent forests, exotic permanent forests, and permanent forests. And so that's quite an important statement. And so now they are consulting with industry on obviously the status quo, preventing all exotic forests accessing that ETS scheme in next year, and then the third one, of course, is that the word exotic forests covers everything, not just pine trees, and so there's also some consultation on whether there should be some exemptions, and I think there's some sense in that because a lot of farmers are actively working on the environmental footprint and stabilising land with poplars, which are in eucalypts and the like. And so, they can play a really important role in that whole chat around right tree, right place. And so that's actually quite an important point. I think we don't want to go from one extreme to the other where we have a sort of blanket ruling, and on the other hand, we can't actually provide the right incentives for farmers to be stabilising land and maybe semi-retiring or absolutely retiring land with natives. So I think there's a lot of work to be done, but it's great that industry is now being actively engaged on the solutions rather than the sort of the blanket approach to this point.
Yeah, fair call. Now, obviously, everyone's been watching the dairy sector with great interest of late because the prices, certainly in terms of, returns at the farm gate, have been very, very healthy. What have we seen in terms of that translating into the real estate market in terms of dairy properties, Conrad?
Well, we've had a very strong season with dairy sales, and we track the rolling 12 months median price for dairy sales, and we now, just looking at the Rhines data, it hit 40,300 a hectare as of last month, February. Now, we haven't had that result since 2009. So, and in fact, that was at absolute peak, just pre-GSE, around the GSE time, when the dairy conversions and the dairy boom was really at its zenith. So that is significant, and the year-on-year change is like from 32,000 to 40,300. That's a significant appreciation. So the steepness of the recovery from year-on-year, it's the strongest period of recovery that we've seen in terms of the median price. And I think if I just throw a spotlight on the Tararua region, our Dannevirke and Paetu offices, we've done over $50 million worth of real estate out of those two offices alone in this new year since Christmas.
Wow.
And a lot of it has been driven off not only the sheep and beef market, but the dairy sales there as well. And it's really encouraging to see what we've had some very good successes there with prices in excess of 40,000 a hectare. In fact, property brokers sold 5 separate operational dairy farms in excess of 40,000 a hectare out of the Paitoa district alone. So, and that traditionally hasn't always been seen as, a tier 1 dairy location, though those farming there would say those Manitou series soils and the likes are as good as anywhere, and they would certainly defend their corner, and it's good to see the market responding. Interestingly, there's 2 levels to that. There are some of the smaller scale dairy properties being bought by beef finishers to improve their finishing margins, and then the larger scale dairy operations are being actually bought by proven dairy farming family businesses. And I think I'd round that whole conversation out is that, there's the owner-operators have always been the backbone of our rural primary industry, and it's great to see them operating in the market, probably at levels we haven't seen for a decade. So that's, it's all very encouraging, and it's built on the strength, I suppose, of the underlying returns, but also the quality of the infrastructure and the compliance and all the investment that's been made over the last decade as well.
Yeah.
It's not as if these farms have been standing still.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a very good point to make. And just to round things off for this conversation, Conrad, what else is going on around the countryside? What other things have you noted?
Well, there has been a lot of chat around the influence of permanent forests and carbon in the sheep and beef sector, and farmers being priced out of the market. But look, I'm always a great believer that quality always prevails, and we had a wonderful sale up in the King Country at Tenda, where this was over 1,000 hectares, and a very good farm, been faithfully farmed for a very long time, and there were 6 tenders on that, and 5 of those were sheep and beef people with a sheep and beef business plan, and it was great to see a farming family buy that and take that business forward, and that was a substantial sale, requiring a lot of capital. So these results are coming forward, and there's no question that our primary sector is well positioned, and as those people are making investment decisions in favour of farming. So just to balance that out, there's still good progress being made on all fronts, not just dairy.
Very good. All right, nice to hear. And Conrad, as always, it's great to have you on the program. Thanks for your insight. And of course, people, make sure you go and check out the Property Brokers website as well, propertybrokers.co.nz. Enjoy the week, Conrad, and we'll talk to you again shortly.
Thanks, Dom.